Good morning and merry meet everyone. Happy Moon Day. I hope you all are doing well today. I am doing well myself. Thank you very much. Had a very active weekend and was able to do a lot of things that I have been wanting to do. The Hierophant worked very well in my life last week. How did he work in yours? And I'm sorry I didn't check back in. It was a crazy week because as the Hierophant, you know, we have to focus, right? We have things we have to do, and we have to get those other things done. We have to tend to that. So tell me how the Hierophant showed up in your life, because this week we have the Magician. The Magician is the archetype of the week for the week of October the 20th. And he is telling us that we have the power that we need in order to succeed. The Magician's esoteric name is the Magus of Power. And the card number is 1. The planetary rulership is Mercury. And the Magician is referred to as the Fool's celestial father. He helps us to connect with the primal forces of the cosmos, such as the expansion and construction, the outward flow balanced with the inner. So in essence, this is about balancing the masculine and the feminine energies that are within. And you see that a lot throughout the major arcana. You understand the importance of that. As well as this card is about harnessing more of our higher potential as well. The Magician brings spirit energy down for creation into the external world. With the while the High Priestess card tells us and helps us how to connect inwardly with spirit in order to evolve, the Magician is opposite of that. Here we are learning how to master the physical plane. And the first cards of the major arcana is referred to as the 7 keys, as they are related to the preparation of the great work. The first card is the first step of limitless light that the Fool takes as he steps onto the journey of self-actualization. The Magician is the second. The Magician is considered the Magi, the Wizard, the Wise Man. This represents the power to make things happen and to create by one's own will. In our world today, magic has a bad reputation as it has been set in place by science and religion. That's right. And this is why some fields will put a K on the end of magic to separate it from stage magic, which is illusion. So with the K, it's talking about this path. It's talking about actual historical things of how we operate and manifest, whereas just magic with a regular C is the stage illusion, you know, kind of like pulling the rabbits from the hat. So for this one, magic means to change nothing into something or something into something else. The Magician has mastered the art of science and focus of the mind and will. So interestingly, in Egypt, magic meant science. Seeing this card, we can be reminded of Hermes Trismegistus, whose teachings have lasted for thousands of years. His teachings were considered to be the path of understanding as well as how to manifest hidden wisdom. Hermes influenced several mystic philosophers, such as Plato and Socrates. Now, looking at this card, we see the number 1 is on it, and this is the beginning of a cycle. This can be the initiation of a new creative process. It is in the divine spark of life. So the Magician card stands for power, authority, and leadership. And this card has a tremendous amount of symbolism on it, and I'm not going to get into that. We do see that he is in a private garden where he is set away from everyone else so he can have his quietness, his privateness. And this garden symbolizes something that must be cultivated. It is the ground of our being that we must consciously and actively tend to. So it represents life as well as the soil that it grows in, and that would be our subconscious mind. So the key to the great work is to will, to know, to dare, and to keep silent. To will is exercising our personal will, our choice, using discernment. To know thyself. To dare. Some of us may have been persecuted within different lifetimes for our beliefs, but there were times when certain practices and subjects were restricted. So here, to dare is to dare to go forward and to dare to stand up against non-conformity, which is really odd because conformity is really high in our world right now. And you would think it would be from people who would want the individuality, but it's really quite weird right now. And then to keep silent, because this is one thing that a lot of people have trouble with, because they believe that other people wish for them the same as they wish for themselves. And that's not true. Keep silent. Keep silent about your creative work. Keep your creative work sacred and protected as well. Don't be telling everybody your business. We have to keep in mind that not everyone has our greatest potential in mind. Other people's opinion can and will interfere with your creative work. So keep your work sacred and private and protected. So the magician tells us that if we follow this path, it tells us that we have all that we need to achieve, and that we have all the spiritual tools in our toolbox, so to speak, in order to do so. He shows us how to contact as well. He shows us how to contact with divine source as well. Discipline is a keynote here, because discipline is required to remain attentive to the higher power. Thus, self-mastery is born through deep personal practice and the use of these tools. So the magician stands in exact contrast to the fool. The fool represents the unbridled energy, while the magician represents focus, technique, concentration, and skills that are necessary for achieving success. So, again, he is corresponding with the planet Mercury, which is closest to the sun. And Mercury has the fastest moving orbit, so he's very quick with his energy. And Mercury was also, a trickster. Okay? Now, as the messenger of the god, Mercury transmits wisdom to humans. And he loves to teach others what he knows, and he's always willing and ready to do so. So the keywords this week are expression, good timing, flexibility, common sense, consciousness, use of our ability, confidence in our skills, and creative abilities. So when we have an imbalance of this card, which would be our weakness and our shadow, so to speak, that would be being lazy, doing too little, or even doing too many things, such as being, also about being thoughtless, pessimistic, scattered, being tricky, or being deceiving, or practicing what is called, quote-unquote, black magic, basically having destructive intent. For me, protection is 100%. So, but, yeah, to me, that doesn't talk about protection. But this is about someone, you know, in a negative way. It's about an abuse of power. But ultimately, the magician is teaching us that self-mastery can only be born when we are focused and attentive to a higher power. He reminds us that we have all we need to reach our goals, but we must use our spiritual gifts in order to make this happen. So keep in contact with me, guys. Tell me how the magician is showing up in your life this week. Many blessings, everyone.